Good evening, everyone. Thank you for staying till now. And my name is Choma Izewanfo, like he said. I'm a journalist. I'm a news manager, Nigeria Info, Cool FM, Amazobia. And I'm happy to be here. I've been here since, I think, before 8 a.m. And it's been, every aspect of this event has been, there's been lots of learning curves. I don't know if I'm the only one. Am I the only one that's had a lot to pick on? Am I the only one? There's been a lot I've picked on today, and I'm very happy that we're about to do this session. When I looked at it and I saw what it was about, and then I listened to all of the pitches, I said, this is really fantastic. And I am really hoping that you participate because we want it to be productive. We want it to be insightful. And those that pitched just now, are you still here? Please, if you just pitch, please. Are you still here? Okay, I need you to be a part of this session as well because we're talking about mapping growth, strategies for the innovation ecosystem. And for me, that's a very interesting topic when we listen to what some of us pitched here today. Mapping growth, insights, and strategies for building a thriving innovation system. And my panelists, I hope they are here and I hope they are ready. Were they able to endure till the very end? Let me introduce let me start with the Chief Innovation Officer of UNDP Nigeria, William Suma. Is he here? Is he here, please? Oh, okay. Oh, I wish he was here. But let's see. Uche is saying that we do not have. Okay, so I have the director, SSEAN, that's Southeast. Help me now. This acronym for SSEAN, I want to say it fully. Uche. Southeast, what again? Uche is not even listening to me. E is what? Angel Network, I know it.
No, not even that. So
Okay. Okay, so I've just had to review the list for the panelists. And so I want to welcome Mrs. Chisom Egwatu. Okay. So, Mrs. Chisom Egwatu, please, if you're here. And then, is Alex Enebeli here? How about Kelvin? Kelvin Dafil? Is he here? Onyekachi Opara, is he still here? The Business Solution Zoho Corporation, is he still here? Okay. We're going to have a very interesting conversation regardless. Nigeria boasts of a vibrant startup scene, but innovation is beyond startup. It's about the research institutions, it's about the universities, it's about innovation cuts across startups and it cuts across, various components. And so when I listened to those that were pitching, I understood why this conversation was important. I wish the other panelists were here so that we can have a very robust conversation. But I know regardless, we're going to have a very robust one. You have a mic? Okay, let me get it. All right, so okay. All right. So when you look at the numbers of number of startups, let's stay with startups now, for instance, the number of startups that are in Nigeria, and compare them with the one in South Africa, and compare them with the one in Kenya. I know that at some point, I think 2022, startups in Nigeria, we had about 3,000 startups in Nigeria. But currently, I see that we are now like number 4. South Africa has taken over. So what are we missing is one thing I really want to learn. And then how can we scale? How can we map growth and strategies for growing the innovation ecosystem beyond startups now, growing the innovation ecosystem?
Thank you so much, Yoma. Good evening, everybody. So for me, I think, first of all, I would like to applaud our founders. I think they're doing a really great job. The fact that we are ranking number 4 does not in any way, diminish all of the efforts that we are putting in. I mean, like you said, if you listen to all of the people that pitched here today, you'd just be amazed because it's just a plethora of ideas, different versions and types of, products, ranging across board. And it's quite impressive, to be honest. Yeah. But there's South Africa, there's Nigeria, there are other countries, there's the US, other African countries. The truth is, beyond just being a startup, right, or having to found a company, there's a lot more that is required for a startup to thrive. And I believe that that's really the foundation of what we're trying to discuss here. Because having an idea and kicking off a business, to actually establish that idea is just the first step. Beyond that, you now need to, there's a whole lot of other things you need to have for that business to flourish beyond like the first 5 years. So speaking to, for example, policies, government support, how is our government supporting us? Speaking to what you talked about, South Africa and other countries that you mentioned, one thing I see clearly is how, the government is really supporting them in those countries.
What does it look like there that we're not doing here yet?
Okay, so maybe let me start from what it looks like here, right? Okay. So for here in Nigeria, I mean, I don't know if you listened to Mrs. Nkechi Jane when she spoke. Yeah. So when she was speaking, I was really, it really fascinated me and it caught my interest because what she's speaking to, and we're talking about digital infrastructure, that is a key driver of the startup ecosystem, right? And she spoke about the fact that a major aspect they were trying to solve, or a major issue they're trying to solve, is the part of inclusion, how they can include the excluded, and the fact that a lot of businesses are not willing to go there because the ROI is low. The return on investment does not make sense. If someone is in business for a reason, that singular reason is to make money. So why would I go and invest into a particular place where I know I'm not going to eventually get return, or maybe I'll get it in 100 years? Nobody does that, right? That's the right place for the government to step in. The government can step in at that point, knowing that, okay, coming in to support, by providing the funding required. Hence, the normal private sector would not want to do that because it doesn't make sense for them. Yeah. The government can come in at that point to support, to say, we're going to support, look for the major players like her organization, right, to support them and ensure that that inclusion is achieved with on government funds. So that's like a practical area, that I believe that government can step in amidst other areas. And then, of course, there's the aspect of policy, favorable policies for startups and all of that. So that, when people are beyond coming up with the ideas, the policies are also favorable for the startups. Not that tomorrow we hear that we want to start taxing creators online. We want to start, some funny things that we hear. It just douses the spirit of the people who are trying to make something happen. Nigeria already is difficult. So if there's anything we're going to do is to try and make the policy favorable for the people who are trying to sustain the economy, because the startups are the core of the foundation of what is going to help us economically.
Okay, this is very interesting. Please, a round of applause for her. When you look at the area of capacity, do you think we've been able to embrace how this is done? I listened to some of us here, but then there were some of us that without me telling anybody, let's clap for them, we started clapping. I don't know if you noticed it as well. So it appears, would you say, let me ask it as a question now, would you say we've been able to build the kind of capacity that is required to truly grow our innovation ecosystem?
Well, I would say that in terms of capacity, I think it's a journey. I don't think it's a sprint. I think we are on the journey. And to be honest, like you said, the people that pitched, they were great pitches, and they were not so great, right? So I think it's a combination of both right now. But think of it, if you also look at our society today, you realize that there's a lot of brain drain happening. A lot of Nigerians are moving out of Nigeria to other countries. You hear about news, about stories, about Nigerians that are doing so well in other countries. those guys came from this place, right? It means, I don't think, while I believe that there's still some work to be done in terms of capacity development, which of course is part of what we, like STEP, we're doing, part of the work we're trying to do, because for STEP, which by the way means Startup Talent Enhancement Program, what we're trying to do in partnership with the UK Nigeria Tech Hub is we're trying to support startups, at post-revenue stage with the talents and the mentors that they require to be able to scale their businesses and their products.
It appears to directly speak to the capacity building.
Yes, exactly. It actually speaks to that. So that, I mean, those are the kind of interventions, structured programs that we can begin to put in place. And I also believe that innovation hubs are actually part of the people that do some sort of these things, right? And they're also part of the ecosystem at large. So why these things are already happening, let me even speak to the one we're doing. At STEP, what we're trying to do, like I said, we're trying to provide talents, so experienced talents, help them to further upskill, right, by patching them to startups who are at post-revenue stage, to work with them. So both of them are working together towards achieving whatever it is they've set out to achieve within a defined timeline.
What have results looked like for you? How long has it happened?
Oh, no, we are just, in fact, we just closed the application last 2 weeks. But because of this program and because of the interest that we had, we decided to open it up again for the next 1 week. So we've not actually started, we decided to open it up again for the next 1 week. So, I mean, this is the opportunity for anyone here, be you a startup or be you a talent or you're an experienced mentor, you want to be able to support startups with your experience and your expertise, or you're a talent, you're looking for meaningful work, you have some level of experience, but of course, what makes you very experienced in terms of the capacity we're talking about is the amount of work hours you've put in, the amount of work you've put into
exposure.
Exactly, the exposure that you have to work, be it working with established organizations or startup. I mean, that even makes it makes your exposure more meaningful when you have the blend of the two. So we've worked with both established organizations and startups because there's a huge difference. So whether you're a talent looking to upskill further, you can apply. For just 1 week, we have our applications open again at www.steptech.ng. Go ahead and apply, so that you can possibly be part of the people that will be chosen to work with the startups that we've selected. So if you're a startup and you're at post-revenue stage, you're looking to get talents. Talents, it's part of the problem that we have today. I mean, if we're going to expand the ecosystem, startups are the hem of the affairs. They are like at the head, because if there's no innovation, there's nothing to expand anyway. Yeah. So if they are there, they need to be supported. A key way to do that is by providing them with talents, providing them with the mentorship, providing them with the funds, and that's exactly what we're doing. So the talents, beyond just giving you talents, we're actually subsidizing the cost of those talents to about 60%, and you just have to do the 40%. So if you're a startup and you're looking to maybe improve in terms of your technical debt, or maybe marketing, your growth, your strategic plans, and maybe your risk framework and all of that, please feel free to apply. So, I mean, I think that speaks to the question you asked.
Okay, let's talk about the access to funding.
Okay.
How does that work at the moment?
You mean for what we're doing?
Yes, in trying to map strategies for innovation, for growth in that ecosystem, what do you think about the current access to funding, the current level of access to funding?
Yeah, so for us, we're not doing funding directly. We just provide talents that we now pay. We pay for the talents to work with the startups, right? Okay. So we're not funding directly the startups. But I mean, for access to funding, that's definitely a major part of the ecosystem, because beyond having the idea and starting up a business or having the product, eventually you need to scale. Why some of them do bootstrapping, a lot of other startups or products need some major funds to be able to go far, right? So that's where the investors come in, be it VCs, angel investors, and what have you. So I think we've been doing fairly okay before now, but I think that there's some sort of nosedive in terms of investors right now.
Why is that?
So...
Because we've seen situations where people were giving these funds.
Yes, I was going to say that. I believe that's actually the reason, because there has been cases, unfortunately, where startup founders have been given funds. They've come, they've pitched, they've talked about how great their idea and the product is, and then they've caught the interest of investors. Investors have decided to put in the funds in those businesses, and then all of a sudden it's just stories, you know. So I
How
think
can we
those
avoid all of that from happening? In the spirit of growing the ecosystem, how can we ensure that the system ensures that the people who get in and have that access to the funds are also able to deliver, and so that the next people can have more access to funds?
Yeah, because they're sort of blocking the road now for
Yes.
other people. Yeah, so what I would say is, on the side of startups, I think there are two sides to it. There's a side of startups and then there's a side of the investors.
Yeah.
I think on the side of the startups, I think the first thing would be for the startup founders to really genuinely be interested in their business. Because of this rave of investor money, there's a lot of startup founders that are just...
Who are in a hurry.
Yeah, they're just all about the money. Let's get the money. Let's get the investors' money,
But what else should I be interested in?
I should be interested in growing the business.
To what
Beyond
end?
just the
To make money, isn't it?
Well, sustainable money, if I put it that way.
Okay.
Sustainable. So it has to be sustainable. And for it to be sustainable, it has to be long-term. And for it to be long-term, you have to be invested to understand what your customer wants.
Yes.
For it to be able to build solutions that will speak directly to your customer. And for it to last a lifetime.
Interesting.
So it's beyond just picking up the money and being, I
One-off
want to
with
get
it.
the money. Just the one-off, right? And at the end of the day, you're not really interested in the customer you're serving. You're not really interested to know, okay, this product I've released, how is my customer interacting with it? Are they liking the product? Are there hitches? Why are there hitches? What are the issues? What can we do better? What can we tweak? Where can we tweak? What are the areas? So iterations, keep improving, keep tweaking, until you get it right. It takes an intentional startup founder to be able to do that. It takes someone who is invested in their business. It takes someone whose mindset is, I want to grow this business, not just I want to get the money. So you see, there's a huge difference. The mindset is what differentiates those two kind of people. And you find out that the people who have this mindset I'm talking about, eventually they make it. Eventually, as long as the product is right.
Okay, are there questions? Any questions for her? Chisome Guato has really highlighted quite interesting aspects of what it takes to truly grow the innovation ecosystem. My final thoughts for you would be about collaboration. One word that's been thrown around a lot these days. Are we doing it right?
Collaboration is definitely a word that we need to speak about in this context of expanding the frontiers or the ecosystem, right? The startup ecosystem. Because the truth is, we can't do it one way. Like, it can't just be... We have to collaborate, no matter what. So startups alone can't just be working on their ideas and they're just alone, in silos, right? Government can't just be in silos. There has to be a working together. It's just like a team. There has to be a working together, because at the end of the day, we are working towards a particular objective, which is the economy at the end of the day, right? Expanding the frontiers, expanding the ecosystem, which will in turn impact positively the economy. So if we're going to do that, it has to be a collaborative approach. So it has to come from the startup. Beyond having the idea, the government is going to support with the policies and the favorable environment. The research institutions, someone like LBS, with what they are doing, coming up with research ideas, proven research ideas to say these and these and these are things that are working. But as we have proven, right? And then startup founders can pick up on those ideas to funders, VCs, investors who are willing to now fund the great ideas and the great startups to who again is in the ecosystem.
Research institutions,
research institutions, universities, established organizations who are probably going to mentor the startups or even adopt some of the disruptive strategies that they've brought into the system. So everybody literally has to work in sync if we are going to expand. It's just like if you're running an organization and you have an objective you want to meet, and then you just want maybe the sales team to just drive and achieve the goal. You give a target. The target is achieve 1 billion, as we usually throw numbers around, right? But the sales team alone can't achieve that number. We need a product, first of all. Where is the product? And we don't just need the product. When we have the product, we go to the market. We find out what the customers that we have built the product for are saying about the product. So there needs to be a market research. We need to go and check that the customers we build the product for actually, they're able to relate to the product. It makes sense to them. It's value for them. So it's beyond just building the product. It has to be value for the people you're building it for. Eventually, when you have built the product and it's value for them, then we need to make noise. The marketing team needs to come into place. So that's the same thing that must happen with our startup ecosystem. If we are really going to expand the frontiers and, go big on this, everybody needs to work together. Everybody needs to work together, from the startup founders to the investors to the government to the established organizations. We have to agree that there is a
Is there any
goal.
collaboration that's going on right now that you want to commend? Maybe between government and startups or established organizations? Any collaboration you've noticed and you think should be encouraged?
Well,
so that means we're not seeing a lot of that going on.
Yeah, there needs to be
But
more.
yeah, there are lots of founders and co-founders.
Mm-hmm.
But we are not seeing a lot of but we're not seeing a lot of growth.
Yes.
In fact, I saw some numbers that showed that so much money went into this industry, but not a lot of it has come out.
Absolutely.
So that means there's something we're not doing right.
Because
what
beyond
makes it
having
right?
just ideas,
Yes,
there's
so
a lot more needed.
How can we use collaboration to drive innovative growth in the innovation ecosystem? What's the right way to use collaboration to do that?
So I think, take for example the kind of program we're at right now.
Yeah.
That's one way. But beyond just having it as a program, having those ecosystem stakeholders come together to now, for example, when we are pitching, all of these people that pitched, I don't know if we had investors come into this program. Did we have investors?
Yes.
I think we had investors, right? So if we had a representative in government come in and heard what Mrs. Nkechi Jane talked about, that could have been a point where the government could say, okay, we're going to step in and take this up, right? So if we have programs like this, and I believe we have a lot of this kind of programs happen.
Yes.
I don't know, for the South, it might not be as frequent, but somewhere like Lagos, I know we have a lot of
regulars,
it. And I've also seen governments come in. But I think there needs to be more of it.
More
right?
of that.
For us to actually...
For the fact that you are an active player in the industry and you couldn't name one collaboration that you find very intriguing, that shows that we're not doing it right enough.
Yeah, I think we need to do better. I think we need to do better.
Okay, let's just call it your final thoughts as we wrap up this session.
Thank you so much, Choma. I think my final thoughts would be to the startup founders. I think it takes a whole lot to found a company. It takes a whole lot to build a business. I'm a founder as well, so I know that it's not child's play at all. It takes a lot of work. I just want to say, stay true to what you're doing. Stay true to the business you're building. Be about your numbers. Be about your business. Have your head in the game. Don't just try to build a business because you want to get investors' money. So you need to be certain. I think it was the MD of the CEO of Zen Finance that said something. What he said caught me. He said, what was that he said again? It just skipped my mind. Oh my God. I think he said something about, what did he say?
The 21-year-old actually also said something that is in line with what you were saying before he started thinking about the one that Aaron was saying. But the 21-year-old mentioned something about, do not think of building Clubhouse or building, but instead you should think of something that truly solves the problem that we are currently facing. Exactly. And, there's so much, and for me, that's what stands out for me when I think about asset chain. The whole NFT. Honestly, in Nigeria, we don't really care about art as much as they do abroad. I mean, abroad, they queue for this thing.
The market is so ripe for it.
They queue for this thing and they jump into museums and they use all kinds of gadgets just to steal art. We don't care about it in Nigeria.
Honestly.
If someone's art is missing in Nigeria, we don't care. That's one thing I've noticed. But you see, our assets, land grabbing situation, that solves a direct problem.
Absolutely.
And that's what I really like about the idea of asset chain, or converting that idea to solve our own direct problems in Africa, in Nigeria, in Rivers State, in Port Harcourt. So I really personally look forward to founders who are solving those kind of direct problems.
Exactly.
That's also why Sim Forest stands out for me as well, because they are solving problems. I knew the public systems they were discussing today before their solutions came on board. Rift Tamis. I knew the systems and how frustrating it was. And I just learned today that the e-filing system that we are all admiring was done by them.
Wow.
That solved a lot of problem. Being able to do affidavit online, That's a
That's a big deal.
major issue
Yeah.
that's being solved.
That's a
So
big deal.
I really look forward to, real local problems being solved.
Look, I think the word is local.
Yes.
I think the word is local because right now we see a lot of startups doing some high level
Then you
stuff.
can scale to the
That's
global
okay,
audience.
but I
yes.
mean, I think we still need a lot of local problems solved. That's what you're speaking to, and I totally agree. I just remembered what I was trying to say about the CEO of Zen Finance. What he was saying about the long-term game. You should be in it for the long-term game. Are you going to, you start now, are you going to want to continue for the next 5-10 years? Or are you just going to start and then jump from this one to another? So you always have to ask yourself that critical question. I'm someone that has started like maybe 5 different businesses, so I understand when he said that.
Focus.
Oh my God. Like, what he said was like 10 nuggets in one. And it sounded very simple, but it's not that. It's not that simple, trust me. Like, your ability to decide that, okay, this is what I want to focus on and stick to it. But for you to stick to it, it's different. It's a lot of things that has to lead to you sticking to it. So it's interest, it's skill, it's passion, long term, it's
discipline, resilience.
It's just different things. So you have to be willing to pursue the same thing for a very long time. Or are you just in it for the short term? So I think for our startup founders, I think we're doing a great job. But just ask yourself the hard questions. What problem am I really solving? Am I really solving an actual problem? Because it starts from there. If you're not solving a problem, then you don't have a business in the first place. So are you solving a problem? And who are you solving that problem for? Have you validated this idea? Have you validated with the actual people that you're trying to solve the problem for, the target audience? You need to validate it. It needs to make sense to them. It needs to be value for them. You might have built something and you see value in it, but it's not value for the people you're building it for. Then it doesn't make any sense because you are not building it for yourself. You're building it for people. And the people you're building it for, it has to make sense to them. So they have to be able to relate to it. So you always have to stay true to your numbers, stay true to the reason why you're in that business, and then give it your best shot, because the startup life is not the easy life. You have to drill and drill, roll up your sleeves and get to work. So that's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you so much, Chisom Egwatu. Please give me your designation.
I'm the project lead for STEP.
Okay, and STEP is Startups and Talent Enhancement Program. I wish you all the best. I look forward to all the beautiful things that will come out of this.
Thank
and
you.
I didn't mention something. I've known Chisom for about 20 years. And so imagine my shock when I realized that she was going to be the one I would interview at this session. It was a very surprising watch. Did I tell them where we met?
I think it's okay.
Okay, so we went to her school for evangelism, secondary school. That's how many years ago we've known each other. And then it's been a beautiful friendship since then. We lost contact, reconnected, and I'm really happy to see how much she's grown and being able to have this really great conversation with you, Chisom. Good to see you.
Same here, Choma.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.